On the day of the storm, when it started to settle down, we saw Jimmy going door to door checking on people. He told us that every board house in the area with zinc roof got flattened, except 3. A Christian lady, I guess she most probably was fasting and praying. Miss Joanne's, though part of her roof did blow away, and Kelsey's, and Kelsey had tied down her zinc. Again, a tiny part of hers had blown away. So the moral of the story, prayer and tie down your zinc when hurricane come. Simple.
Shining bright, the beach is calling out my name, the waves are crashing gently, and the breeze is blowing through.
Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to Denise's Island Dream. Thank you so much for tuning in, and 4 weeks on, following Hurricane Melissa, I'm still without electricity and internet. I've actually been told it may be March or even June before these services are restored. The footage you're watching today was recorded on the 27th of November, and the journey leading up to this point has been quite something. I've been keeping a diary throughout, which I'll be sharing over the next few weeks. Hurricane Melissa has brought many challenges, but through it all, God has been so good and so faithful, and I can't thank him enough for how he has carried me through the last month. My faith has truly been strengthened. There were concerns about famine, but as you can see, we have been blessed with an abundance of food. It hasn't been an easy road though. Some people took far more parcels than they needed, and others even sold donated food and water shortly after the hurricane. With many areas of Jamaica now declared disaster zones, we citizens are relying heavily on the generosity of charities, businesses and individuals from across the world, and the outpouring of support has been absolutely incredible. I want to say a big thank you, first of all, to our Creator, Father God, the giver of life. Thank you to all the donors, both here in Jamaica and abroad. Big up yourself, Spice, the celebrity, for blessing the people of Bethl Town with your presence and overwhelming donations. Thank you to the soldiers who delivered food parcels by helicopter 2 to 3 times a day. A huge thank you to all the volunteers, especially those who travelled from overseas. A big thank you to the doctors that came from Alabama, walking up and down our lane. And of course, thank you to all the Jamaican volunteers working non-stop to support their fellow citizens. Because I live a little distance from the more populated areas of Bethl Town, by the time people from my lane reached the helicopter landings, the food was often finished. So I want to give special thanks to Bethl Town Baptist Church and Bethl Town Seventh-day Adventist Church for recognising the issue and delivering generous packages directly to our doors. Thank you as well to my viewers and subscribers for your prayers, encouragement and for checking in on me. I truly appreciate every single one of you. As many of you know, my channel was monetised just before the hurricane. I received an email a couple of days ago confirming that just under $700 after tax has been deposited into my account. That is such a major blessing at a time such as this. and particularly at a time when I've had to turn away guests from nature's paradise due to losing most of my water and all of my solar power. Thank you to everyone who's been watching the ads, and I would be grateful if viewers could consider watching at least 30 seconds of the ads, as it helps me tremendously. Restoring the solar system will ease the burden on my two neighbours who have been running their generators throughout the night at their own expense to help support our community. It will also allow me to continue creating YouTube content more reliably. Thank you, Paulette, for your donation through Buy Me a Coffee, and if anyone else feels led to donate there, it would be a wonderful blessing. My apologies for the video quality. I'm facing ongoing charging challenges with my other phone. It's definitely a time of adjustment and finding creative ways to make things work. I'll soon be sharing the entries from my diary over the last few weeks, though they'll be accompanied by photos instead of video footage. Many thanks again for your continued support, and may God's richest blessings be upon you all. Hurricane Melissa, Day 2. It was a sunny day, but the place I've called home for over 3 years looked nothing like the Jamaica I knew. Mr. Weatherman wasn't lying when he said Hurricane Melissa would be the most powerful storm ever recorded in our island's history. It felt like Melissa must have gone beyond Category 5. Nobody alive had ever seen a hurricane behave like this monster. Sadly, I heard about one death, a poor elderly lady whose home collapsed on her. May her soul rest in peace. But even in the midst of destruction, I'm giving thanks to God. We are all alive, and that alone is a blessing beyond measure. DJ Iceman's bar, it flat like Bammy. Some of his sound system is mashed up, so no more old licks echoing down the lane for a short while. But knowing Iceman, he'll be up and running before you know it. So Mia passed by, trying hard to hold back her tears. Her home, gone, completely flattened. She was rescuing the few belongings she had left so she could stay with a friend. We encouraged her as best as we could, but when she walked back again later, this time smiling, it was honestly one of the most beautiful moments of the day. Strength looks different on everybody, and on her it looked like a quiet miracle. Despite the chaos, there was laughter everywhere. I could literally feel the Spirit of God moving through the community as people came together. Every house was hit. Everybody had damage. Yet, somehow, people were still checking on each other, still sharing food, still cracking jokes. Now, let me tell you about my duvets. Yes, duvets in Jamaica, in the tropics. I used to wonder what possessed me to bring them here until the hurricane hit. Well, my winter bedding turned into monster mops, blocking water from pouring in through the wooden slats and under the doors. At one point I said, God, this is why you had me pack them, because truly those duvets worked harder than some government officials. Miss Joanne and I went to check on a Rasta man nearby. I never even knew a house was there. All I could see was zinc and broken wood shaped like a defeated fort. She called out, Rasta, you good? And from somewhere inside the rubble, he answered, Yes, man, me give thanks. Only Jamaicans can survive a hurricane in a house made of zinc and come out praising God. On the day of the storm, when it started to settle down, we saw Jimmy going door to door checking on people. He told us that every board house in the area with zinc roof got flattened, except 3. A Christian lady, I guess she most probably was fasting and praying, Miss Joanne's, though part of her roof did blow away, and Kelsey's, and Kelsey had tied down her zinc. Again, a tiny part of hers had blown away. So the moral of the story, prayer and tie down your zinc when hurricane come. Simple. So Kelsey's niece Lexi had stayed with her stepmother during the hurricane. She walked miles to come home and was thanking God no one was harmed. We hugged each other, and whilst doing so, she said she was worried because all the fruit trees were stripped bare and she feared famine was coming. I told her, "Girl, stop calling it in. God knows we need food." Meanwhile, her uncle Dandre was vexed because the MP passed through the lane and he didn't see him stop to talk to anyone. He was saying, "Oh, them not send helicopter for check pound we. Anything could happen to we." Honestly, he had a point, but with a disaster of that magnitude, it was totally undoable. I learned something new about the Chinese supermarkets. They're family run and the owners live inside the building. I genuinely thought they had big seaside mansions somewhere, but no, turns out they're sleeping over the shop like they're guarding gold. And listen, after the hurricane tore down the supermarket concrete wall, some locals looted the place. Thankfully, the police guarded them as they moved the remaining stock to a safe place. Before coming to Jamaica, I asked God to bless me so I could be a blessing. I used to think that meant money, but this week, I learned it also means opening your door. God blessed me with a home that sheltered 11 people during the storm. One of my neighbours nearly got hit by flying zinc and stones. He normally doesn't talk to anyone, but that night he was the friendliest man in Bethl Town. Trauma has a way of humbling you real quick. He held my hand and said, "Yes, Auntie," when I told him we could at least say hi when we see each other on the road. That moment melted my heart. Now for the ackee tree and solar panel saga. The ackee tree that everyone wanted gone, yes, that tree finally fell. People had tried to kill it with engine oil, tree killer and the tongue. That tree has to go. Well, Melissa uprooted it, just like that. It landed on my roof but didn't pierce through, just scraped the edge. God was clearly directing Mr. Ackee Tree. And as for my solar panels, I begged God to save them. God said, "Okay, kind of." They attached themselves to the zinc and flew off together like Romeo and Juliet. In the wind, one was even scraping and banging against the window, but the window stood firm. Thank God the panels didn't end up 5 miles down the road. This is Jamaica, and I would never have seen them again. I found all 9 of them on the other side of the house like they were resting after the race of their lives. Miss Joanne was worried sick about her home, but I reminded her of Romans 8:28. All things work together for good. Sometimes God allows a shaking to reset us and to pull us back to Him. I lost 4 full tanks of water, but 7 barrels remained intact. Water is life, and God made sure I still had enough. Lesson learned: when a hurricane is coming, lock off your tank and find out where to tie them down. As evening fell, I sat on the veranda and heard Miss Joanne telling her granddaughter to pack their things. Surely they weren't planning to return to their roofless house. They were indeed. Miss Joanne didn't want to inconvenience me. I told them to stay with me until repairs are made. I love my space, yes, but sometimes love means opening the door, even when it's inconvenient. We all slept like babies that night. God truly kept us. Well, thank you all, my viewers, subscribers and supporters, for listening to day 2 of my Hurricane Melissa Diary. Your love means more than you know. So it's goodbye for now, and I hope to see you all soon, and God bless you all.